Hello Yates County and beyond. Welcome back to another episode of Invasive Species Friday. Through this short weekly podcast, we at the HCCE hope to bring you information about the invasive species you may see around this county. So let's head to the shallows with this week's invasive, Banded Mystery Snail. We don't have to travel far to find this week's invasive's native range. Banded Mystery Snails are from the southeast United States, primarily the Mississippi River system. They have made their way into the waterways of northeast North America due to collectors and the aquarium trade. Illegal release of these freshwater snails has led to populations being widespread in all 5 Great Lakes. The first introduction record of the banded mystery snail in the Northeast was a purposeful release of around 200 snails into the Hudson River in the 1850s. While it's believed that this population did not survive, subsequent releases resulted in the species reaching the Great Lakes Basin by 1867. They were reported in Lake Michigan by 1906 and Lake Erie by 1914. The banded mystery snail got their mysterious moniker from how they reproduce. Females produce 1 to 81 young a year depending on their size, but average around 11. They're one of only a few gastropods that give birth to live young as opposed to laying eggs. The young, fully developed snails seem to appear suddenly, making their origins mysterious. Females can brood multiple clutches at once and are larger and faster than the males. Typically living less than 4 years, they reach sexual maturity between 1 to 3 years, but it's not yet known why there's such a range between different populations. Banded mystery snails can grow up to 1.5 inches tall and are light brown with distinct red or brown horizontal bands following the shell spiral. They have a trapdoor called an operculum that covers the opening of their shell for protection. These snails are grazers and filter feeders and prefer sandy or silty, nutrient-rich environments with plenty of green algae, diatoms, and decomposing plant matter. They aren't typically found in large, fast-flowing rivers, but can survive in areas of high water velocity. They are more often found in slow lakes, streams, and ponds. Spring to fall, they stay in the shallows, later moving to the deeper waters to burrow and overwinter. Banded mystery snails can look similar to other invasive snails, like the Chinese mystery snail and faucet snails. The Chinese snails don't have the red bands like the banded do, but do have small depressions above their shell opening and rows of stiff hairs parallel to their shell's whorls. They can also grow up to double the size of the banded. Faucet snails are much smaller, but can be confused for young banded. They don't, however, have the distinct bands. So what makes the banded mystery snail an invasive species? They are eaten by both fish and birds, but are known to be hosts for trematodes. These flatworm parasites will spread from the snails to the birds, which can result in many sick birds and large avian die-offs. The trematodes also infect fish, but the parasites use them as an intermediate host until they can transfer to a bird, so they don't typically kill the fish. There is usually no risk to human health if an infected fish is eaten, as long as it's cooked properly. Along with algae, the banded snails also feed on the eggs of largemouth bass, which significantly increases the embryo mortality rates in the fish species and decreases their overall population in an area. The banded snails also compete with native snails for space and resources. The banded snail's greater survival rate compared to the native snails gives them an even greater advantage. Unlike most aquatic snails, they can live outside the water for days, meaning they can easily be transported between water bodies by clinging to boats and other recreational equipment. Finally, after the spring reproduction, the banded snails die off in large numbers, which results in smelly piles and significant shell debris accumulating on beaches and shorelines. Since banded mystery snails can catch a ride between water bodies, can you guess how you can prevent the further spread of this invasive? That's right. Please clean, drain, and dry your boats and equipment before moving to a new location. Clean off visible plants, animals, and mud, drain the bilge and other water-containing devices, and dry everything for 5 days or wipe thoroughly with a towel. It's also important to appropriately dispose of unwanted bait and fish parts, and never dump your unwanted aquariums into a water body. To learn more about the clean, drain, dry procedures, including the ones for specific recreational activities, go to stopaquatichitchhikers.org. And with that, we reach the end of this week's episode of Invasive Species Friday. Next Friday, we'll be swimming a little faster with a common but surprisingly fascinating vertebrate. Until then, we at the Yates County CCE thank you for tuning in and supporting our fight against invasive species in Yates County.